Very good evening to all the participants. My name is Dr. Vignesh. I'm part of the National Digital Library of India team, and we are one of the co-organizers and technical support partner for this 25th PM Panika National Reading or Digital Reading Mission Month celebrations. And this is the 25th Silver Jubilee year celebrations of the PN Panikar National Reading Month. And we have been organizing a series of webinars during this 1 month celebrations on various topics ranging from reading, uh, digital literacy, digital libraries, and the importance of the storytelling. So we have been working out a series of topics which is of interest to the uh, uh, wider audience that we are having. And in this process, today is the ninth webinar that we are organizing as part of this Reading Month celebration. And today's session is on need for revamping the school education through friendly approaches using digital technologies. And we have our resource person, our very well known Sri M.A. Baby sir. And he was there last year also, and he literally spoke very well during the last year's session. I could still remember a few of his points he discussed last year. And we are very pleased to have you for this year session also, sir. And now I request Balagopal ji to formally introduce our MA Baby sir to the audience, and then we can start. Balagopal sir, kindly unmute yourself and then you can start, sir.
Yes. Good evening to everybody. MA Baby sir have come after a long time because he was traveling from North Kerala to Trivandrum, and he could reach by 6:50 he reached Trivandrum, and now he's well safe in his room. So it's a privilege for PN Panikar Foundation to have MA Baby sir in the chair as the chief guest of this. Interaction is required for Sri M.A. Baby. At the moment, he's the for the last 5 years, he is the Politburo member of the Communist Party of India, Marxist, and he's a widely traveled man, and he's a voracious reader. That is why he's coming to this position. He was our education minister. Not only education minister, he was the chairman of the PM Panikar Vigyan Vikas Kendra, the autonomous body of the government of India. And not only he is the chairman, he is our godfather for all our movement. He was very friendly with PN Panikar and very friendly with the PN Panikar Foundation and myself also, because he is very open. He is very open, and he is a political, and he has got a lot of views and ideas in making reading and making inclusive education a reality. In fact, he's an advocate of the online education system, and now at the moment he will present before us the revamping of the school education system to suit the online education. And Baby sir, I was introduced him earlier also. He is one of the soul of the this Kerala education, changing of the Kerala educational policy, education in Kerala, and national education policy. He is well aware of the national education policy, and one of the strongest advocate of the left movement in the, not only in the country, in the world. With these words, I am introducing Shri M.A. Baby Saab to this August meeting. Saab, Baby Saab, please.
Am I audible, or is there any other?
Yes, no, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. It's fine, sir. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much, my esteemed friends and colleagues who are present and participating in this program. The technical coordinator, my dear friend Sri P.N. Balagopal, the very illustrious, hardworking moving spirit of PN Panikkar Foundation and PN Panikkar Gyan Vikas Kendra. Thank you very much for the very kind and unnecessarily exaggerative words spoke about me while introducing myself. That is the usual kindness of Mr. Balagopal to speak high about the friends he has. Anyway, without making much introductory observations, I would like to straight away present my few observations about the extraordinary situation that prevails in our society and in our world today as a result of COVID-19 pandemic and the different new innovative initiatives that we are compelled to take recourse to in order to deal with the situation in every field, including the field of education. The extraordinary nature of COVID-19 has changed not only the world in which we are living today in an unimaginable manner. The meaning of words, the way in which we used to behave with each other, all this has changed. For example, we used to appreciate someone if he is being introduced as he is a very positive person, isn't it? But today, if someone refers about somebody else as positive, immediately we will relate that to a COVID term, where being positive means that person is afflicted with COVID virus and he is a patient. No one should go anywhere near him other than doctors and medical staff who have sufficient protective mechanism to prevent the COVID virus from catching hold of the health staff. So the meaning of positive and negative has changed in the times of COVID-19. Similarly, the ways in which we express our affection, that used to be by shaking hands or hugging. In Europe, even people kiss in the cheek as a manner of expressing mutual affection and love. Now, this has become dangerous in the times of COVID. Maintaining safe physical distance is the best method to exhibit your affection and love, isn't it? So, I can speak, you can speak on and on about how this small invisible virus succeeded in changing the meaning of words and changing the behavioral pattern of human beings. It is because of this new situation that there is lockdown of society as a whole offices, workplaces, agricultural fields, and educational institutions. Not to speak of cultural events, film theaters, drama performances, music performances, all that. So the impact of this COVID pandemic is extraordinary and exceptional. And one of the greatest negative impacts that COVID is having on human society is the lockdown that was compelled over the whole world for a long period. Now, there is partial opening up happening in different parts of our globe, including in India and Kerala. There are decisions of partial opening up, but education institutions have not started functioning now, and we are not very sure. We now hear about the possible third wave of this pandemic. So we have to keep our fingers crossed and see how situation would improve in the coming days. But we are now obliged and compelled to explore various possibilities so that the process of education, the process of imparting knowledge, the process of training the new generation to take over the leadership of our society in future times. This very important responsibility, this very crucial futuristic responsibility, now we are compelled to undertake through other methods. That is where the process of digital education and online education is coming. Now, even before this pandemic, there used to be digital and online methods of imparting knowledge, imparting training. Some of the very outstanding institutions of higher education, like MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they have a system of their entire syllabi, their entire teaching process of imparting knowledge and training that is available for distant education. It is known as MOOCs, massive online open education process. So not that COVID pandemic situation only has prompted people to look for alternate methods of imparting knowledge and education. It has been there. We also in our country had distant education. We had Indira Gandhi Open University through which such education has been. Printed educational material is being made available for students in distant places. But online and digital education platform, we have been using. For example, during the time when I had the responsibility of looking after education and culture in Kerala during 2006-11 period, the Victor's channel used to be used in a big way to support the education, the support teaching learning process in the state of Kerala for school education, and various such projects we have introduced. This would continue. This would have continued even without COVID coming and creating an extraordinary situation. All this has been only supportive activities of direct education process. Even when there is distance education, using digital platform and online platform, there used to be some occasions when direct teacher-student interactive sessions would also be organized. Now the situation is such possibilities are very limited, rare. We hope that direct teacher-student teaching learning process could also be put in place, organized in future if COVID pandemic virulence declines and we are able to control this pandemic with massive 100% vaccination and proper treatment methods in place. I am hopeful and optimistic that we would be able to restore the full, direct, open school education system, offline education system, where students can go to education institutions and schools. Teachers would come there and direct hand-holding education to be brought back. That possibilities I am still hopeful about. But as of now, we should be able to prepare ourselves to encounter this extraordinary situation, perhaps for some more months, and if not months, even for another educational year, another academic year. That can be the situation. Then definitely there would be inadequacy if we are only providing digital platform and online education opportunities. How to overcome that? We'll have to discuss that. I have only very straight thoughts. In Kerala, the library movement, the arts and sports club movement is very strong. In every village, there are 3, 4, 5, even dozen library or arts club or sports club. My feeling is that how we can link these libraries, reading rooms, arts clubs and sports clubs as centers where children of that locality can come and have some direct learning process from voluntary teachers who could be retired teachers, who could be serving teachers, who could be degree students and postgraduate students, who can also help these boys and girls to improve their learning process, which otherwise they are totally dependent on digital or online platforms only. This is one practical proposal I would like to make. Now, we also need to note the fact that there are thousands of students at the school age who are now going to specialized schools, schools where children with special needs are being taught. When you have this digital and online education system only working, students with special needs will find it very difficult. They will have big problem in making use of this digital platform and online education process. We will have to think very seriously as to how children, school-going age children of special needs, how their education can be taken forward. This is a very important point. Now, In the state of Kerala, the digital haves and digital have-nots divide is very negligible because of a variety of reasons. Kerala stands head and shoulder above other Indian states in ensuring digital learning, online learning facilities available to even over 90% of school-going students. That is the information available. But still there is a minority who don't have the wherewithal. A minority group of students who don't have the digital educational facility available with them. In some places, the bandwidth is so low, as a result of which the students of that area, when they try to access the digital platform and online education facility, it keeps breaking, and the continuity of education is not available to them. Kerala government, led by Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan, now has a very ambitious program of K4 connectivity in the entire state. Poor households are provided with strong digital connectivity free of cost. So such projects are coming. Already we have successfully addressed this question in a substantive manner, but we need to focus on this particular issue more seriously, because due to the lack of digital and online connectivity, gadgets, facility, no single student can be denied the opportunity to learn. It is very important. Kerala should show an exemplary model in this particular area also. Now, due to obvious reasons, this kind of online interaction should be to the point and also within a specific time frame. Very long lectures, it is not advisable, I know. Therefore, I want to conclude by saying that during this particular extraordinary situation, now students are compelled to take recourse to online and digital platforms to have a process of learning and getting some training during the times of lockdown. We need to teach the students from their own experience that there are limits to human ingenuity and human competence to control and exploit nature. I very consciously use the word, there are limits for human beings to exploit nature to its advantage, to the advantage of humanity. Actually, we are part of nature. So our human approach to nature should be of complementarity, interdependence. Only if nature survives, only if the health of the nature is protected, health of humanity can also be protected. The spread of this pandemic and many other such problems that human society is faced with today in the world are also due to the unscientific behavior that human beings are pursuing with nature. The unbridled drive for profit maximization, destroying forests, exploiting nature in an inhuman and unnatural manner is also contributing towards spread of pandemics, climate change, the colossal negative impact of climate change on human survival is widely discussed. This is a global problem. So when we undertake digital and online education program as a substitute during the times of lockdown of society and schools, this opportunity should be utilized by us to make students conscious about the importance of protecting nature. Only by that, we would be in a position to face the expansion of pandemics or emergence of pandemics. So that particular area of learning and teaching can be easily communicated to students by this point of time. Why? Students themselves are thinking, why we are unable to go to school? Because going to school and playing with friends, seeing face to face with teachers, beloved teachers, their physical presence and hand-holding teaching method, how beautiful it may have been. That is being lost for an year or more. Why this has happened? Because of this pandemic. So why such pandemics come? We should ignite the thinking process of students so that they would be able to learn something from their own experience during these very terrible times of COVID-19. I'm extremely thankful to my friends for having given me this opportunity to talk upon this topic. I am personally thankful to Mr. P.N. Balagopal, who is the moving spirit behind all these initiatives. With these few observations, I conclude, and if there are few questions to be raised, if time permits, I would be available for that also. Thank you very much. Take care of you. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, sir. There are a few questions that have already come in for you to respond. So there is a question from Mr. Subhash. Nowadays, reading habit among the young children are declining. How do we enhance the reading habit?
P.N. Panikkar Foundation itself is doing a lot to encourage reading habit. In fact, in the month of June up to, I think, July 18th, every day, speeches and programs are being organized as part of this. To inculcate reading habit in the new generation, the parents will have to show them the role. With the hope that you won't misunderstand, I have very interesting experience yesterday evening in Trichy, where my son and grandson all gathered for a family occasion. You see, whenever my grandson, he is 4-year-old, whenever he comes, most of the time, I spend playing with him. But also, because of similar commitments, I earmark part of my time for reading also, for preparing myself. And he had seen me reading books. So when he saw his grandfather in Trichy yesterday, he picked up a book from my cloth bag. And he told his mother, "Don't disturb me. I want to read something." Then he sat on a chair, sofa, opened that book. He's only 4-year-old. He does not know how to read. But he was very seriously spending time turning the paper. I don't know whether what he has picked up would continue when he grows up. But he thinks that reading is something important because he found his grandpa doing that. And the book he was holding yesterday is very interesting. It is a book by Friedrich Engels, The Dialectics of Nature. The book was the Malayalam translation. Prakrithiyude Vairuthyatmakam. So the matter of human beings committing atrocities on nature and the possibility of nature retaliating, all these issues Friedrich Engels had discussed in this wonderful book, Dialectics of Nature. I feel that if new generation finds their parents and their relatives, their elderly people, spend some time at least reading books, then they think that, yes, reading book is important. So we would be able to inculcate this habit. But don't think that new generation is against reading. Many I have found among college students coming to me and trying to discuss with me some books which I have not read. So I tell them, don't think that I have read every book. Good that you read it book, you study, you would be able to teach me that there are some such good books and you can summarize the content of that book which would be beneficial to me. New generation also has good reading habit. But it is true that in some places there are some inadequacies. Thank you for the question.
Sure, sir. So there are few more questions, and the next question is from Miss Sanita. In fact, she has put two questions. One is, why is that the government schools don't have or operational libraries in the country? That is the first question. And the second question is,
sorry. That question is fully clear to me.
Sure. So why is that government schools don't have operational libraries?
Operational libraries?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe it's not in case with Kerala, but in other states, the situation.
Yeah. That is.
So that is the first question. And the second question is, how libraries can contribute to skill development, especially in the light of new educational policy 2020, sorry.
Yeah. You see, the first question, while presenting the question, my friend also has mentioned in Kerala, government schools and government-aided private schools all have very good libraries. And there has been very massive movement to strengthen school libraries. And in some schools, class libraries are also there. Different classrooms, they have their own library. I don't think anywhere else in our country that would be there. The second part of the question is how libraries can contribute for skill development. Libraries can only partially contribute for skill development because skill development hand-holding would be required. Physical training would be required for skill development. But there are manuals. You see, there is this joke. There are manuals for teaching swimming also. Actually, swimming you have to go to water and some physical trainer is required. But the joke is that there are some books which says that if you read this book, you can easily learn swimming. It's also true that through books, part of the skill can be imparted. But the entire skill cannot be imparted through books. There is hands-holding effort is also required. Thank you.
Sure. The next question is from Ms. Sudha. Her question is of a different nature. Maybe like, as you rightly mentioned, reading is infectious. So once you start reading, your wards also start, or people around you start reading. But in many of the cases, what happens is like the students' parents, they themselves don't encourage the children to read books, especially during the exam time. So how do we handle such situation?
Video series.
Yes, that observation is right. There are two parts to it. You see, parents are getting very obsessed with their children. the entire learning process in our country is, according to me, very undemocratic. Who is the undemocratic? What is the undemocratic element in the learning process in our country? Children are not allowed by their parents to choose their area of study, their area of interest. Parents take a authoritarian decision in advance that my daughter should become a doctor, my son should become an engineer or an IAS officer, this or that. This is utterly undemocratic. And this undemocratic nature continues about the reading habits of their children also. Generally, when exams are there, students should focus more on their syllabus and exam-related reading. But even, for example, a student has worked hard on the syllabus in connection with the exam. So, to relax the brain and the mind, that student would think that let me read Shelley, let me read Vailopalli Sridhara Menon, Kumaranashan, or Faiz Ahmad Faiz, one poem that may give some energy to me. Then I can again continue my studies. Then this obsessed father or mother would come and take away the book and say, what is this? You focus on your studies. So the ignorance of parents, ignorance quote unquote, they might have taken doctorate in some subject. Even after having taken doctorate, people can continue to be ignorant, quote unquote. So this is a problem. So Ms. Sudha's question is very, very relevant. If we need to make our education scientific and better, we need to give some education and knowledge to the parents of children also. That is continuing education. They think that they already had their education. But there is some counseling to be given to parents also. This is my observation.
Sure. So, two last questions. The second last question is from Mr. Nilesh. He needs your views on how can we focus on speed reading with comprehension. Speed reading with comprehension.
Speed reading with comprehension is a peculiar phenomena. That could be something which some people are capable of doing due to a variety of reasons. And I hear that some people are able to give some training also for speed reading with comprehension. This is a human faculty which requires to be properly trained. Some people get it naturally. I am not of that, group. I need time to read. At times I reread a paragraph after having completed it. But it is said that Shankaracharya used to have this ability. By just going through once, he can by heart the entire text. There are many other scientists and sociologists and public intellectuals who are very famous for grasping, capturing the essence of what is being read. That too, what has been read at a Rajdhani speed or supersonic speed. I am the wrong person to get a proper reply to this particular question. So the last question.
Yes, sir. The last question is from Ms. Purnima. Her question is how to manage students of different taste to read a same book, especially during the online library classes.
The question is how to help the differently abled.
No, sir. How do we manage students of different taste to read the same book?
Okay. There you see, it would be difficult to inspire students of different tastes and students of different orientation, even level of comprehension, to pick up the same book and comprehend that. that would be really difficult. There, you see, we should encourage students, first of all, to develop a habit to read anything. Reading something is better than not reading or not having any general reading other than textbook. So encourage them to read books other than their textbook. Don't insist that, no, you should start reading Aristotle or Dr. S. Radhakrishnan or read Swami Vivekananda or read Amartya Sen. Like that. You can introduce great scholars and great thinkers and some of their works. But if they are more inclined to detective novels, okay, start with that. After a point of time, they would realize that though detective novels and detective stories would give us some pleasure of reading, there are more, meaningful classics like Wuthering Heights of Emily Bronte or works of Dostoevsky. Or I would suggest the short story, which is slightly long, How Much Land Does a Man Need by Leo Tolstoy. So once you start reading such works and poems, you give a perspective of life. This slowly, every teacher, while dealing with any topic, any subject, should also tell the students about some general works, about some general reading and what would be the benefits. To make them free thinkers, ask them to approach every shade of idea and ideology with an open mind, with a critical mind. Don't receive anything as it is. Whether it's a poem or a short story or a novel or a detective novel or a work of economics or sociology or philosophy. So teachers should speak with students on general reading and its benefits. A teacher can introduce some famous authors, some of their works, so that like a spark, some students would get inspiration from that. So you have to have a holistic, general approach to encourage students. We should not impose our reading preferences and our reading taste on the students. That would be very wrong. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your valuable time and responding to the majority of the questions from our participants. Now I request Balagopalji to propose the vote of thanks. Over to Balagopal sir. Balagopal sir, kindly unmute your mic and then speak.
Excuse me. Sorry, Dr. Vignesh. Baby sir, your speech was excellent and amazing. In fact, you touched all aspects of the reading and the need of reading and how to effectively control the reading habit and how the children can grow by reading themselves. And your advice, we will take your advice into action and we'll look forward your continued support to this movement, because now the movement has crossed this reading day movement. Though PN Panika started some 60 years back, this reading movement, reading day movement has started in 1996 and now completed 25 years, and it is growing every day. Now it is in 28 states and 9 union territories, and abroad in Canada, state, USA, UAE, all the places, because where the CBSE schools, wherever CBSE schools are there, Government of India CBSE schools are there, it has spread throughout the world also, and with the prayer and support of the people like you, we are also this reading day month celebrations and the reading inculcating reading habit among children. Our aim is also growing fast. Thank you for coming and attending this webinar, and I put on record my appreciation and thanks to Dr. Vignesh and his team and all participants, panelists, and others who attended this program. I look forward to their continued support in the coming days programs also. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
Thank you for participating.
Stay safe. All the best.
Thank you, sir. So participants, I have just shared I have a couple of housekeeping announcements. So I have just shared the feedback form URL in the chat box. So kindly submit your feedback form. And then once you submit, you will be able to download the certificate of participation for today's webinar. And in case if you have not yet registered for the session, kindly first register yourself for the session, and then you can join. And tomorrow we have a very interesting session. Last year it was the major hit. It's a storytelling session, and this session is going to be conducted by Mr. Vikram Sridhar, and the title is "A Cloud Full of Stories," a storytelling session. So it's going to be happen between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. So I request all the participants to join tomorrow. And the registration URL, I'm just going to put it in the chat box. So kindly register yourself for the session, and then kindly participate tomorrow for the session. And kindly download the NDLI mobile app, and also register for the skills scholarship which the PN Panika Foundation has been offering in collaboration with Commonwealth of Learning, right? So thank you so much once again. We look forward to have you tomorrow for the session.